Hey everyone, welcome back to the Legacy Premier League. I'm joined by my good friend Eric Landon. How are you doing, Eric?
Good, how you doing, Jarvis?
Doing great. I just watched a great match of Magic. I don't know if you were watching. Did I mean, what do you think?
I was watching. Yeah, game one was almost. It was a little sad for Autumn there.
Yeah.
It looked like they had that one, and then
Yeah.
Bob got the wasteland off the top. It was a good
Yeah.
match.
Great match. Well played by both players. But let's take a quick look at the group stage, how it's going. So we saw the first match where Julian beat Phil in two straight games. Honestly, looked pretty straightforward. Not a lot of counterplay. The Bob Autumn match, wow, that was a slugfest.
Yeah.
And we're about to see basically the same matchup again.
hmm Yeah, it'll
But
be interesting to see if Julian can change anything there as far as the outcome.
Phil and Autumn still have a shot to make it into the winners bracket. They dropped down. It's a little bit harder for them, but no one's out yet.
Yeah, it will be tough for them because either one who wins is going to have to face Rug Delver.
Yeah, it's almost like Rug Delver is really good.
Oh wait, no, Rug Delver or Dub. Sorry, Bob's not playing Rug Delver.
Yeah. So let's take a look at the deck list. But it so we saw Bob play this deck the last match. And honestly, how did Once Upon a Time look to you?
Um, I didn't. I wasn't paying careful enough attention to that card being cast to see how it was, but so far I have been like not that impressed with that card in depths. I
Yeah.
guess if you have it on turn, if it's your first play, then it's pretty sweet. They don't have to pay the mana for it. But after that, I mean, you're really looking for very specific pieces with this deck rather than just whatever's on top of your deck. But I'll be paying more attention in this match.
Yeah, so for what it's worth, in the past match that was just played, which is going to be a rematch, essentially, Once Upon a Time looked really good to me, and in fact found Bob another wasteland at instant speed, essentially. So he sort of got to play it when he wanted to, as opposed to something like Sylvan Scrying. And one note is grabbing the spirit guide off of Once Upon a Time to play around in Days or Spell Pierce can be super relevant.
For sure. And yeah, the instant speed thing is definitely no joke.
Anyways, let's take a look at Julian's specific rug list, because the thing is the rug lists are sort of all over the place right now. Would you agree with that?
I mean, as far as there seems to be like 2 to 3 threat slots that are kind of flex, and then like one other flex spot.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the stifle versus no stifle versions, but
Sure.
here in Julian's list, the key differences are we have Hooting Mandrills, we have Oko in the main deck. That card is just great in the matchup, in my opinion. Like, because most of the time, Rug forces you to make the Merit Age at sorcery speed to play around Wasteland.
Yeah. Well, true. And then you can
Um,
slam Oko, but they also have thought seizes and things like that. It is a 3 drop. I and it's only a 1 of. I think um personally I like what Autumn had, which is uh Brazen Borrowers was, I think, a slightly better answer to 2020 than Oko is, but Oko is definitely a main deck answer
right.
that Delver just didn't used to have any main deck answers, and now they have different options.
Yeah, and the other key cards in the sideboard are Submerge, Echoing Truth, and you could make a case for Pithing Needle, Sylvan Library, and Engineered Explosive as well. But um, I think overall I would prefer Autumn's list in the matchup, but Julian still has some really powerful tools at his disposal. And let's go to a match and see what actually happens.
Looks good. So Julian's on the play.
Yeah. I don't know if I've said this before. I hate mulliganing,
hmm
but Bob did mull that hand. It was one land plus Mox Diamond, and this is another one lander with Mox Diamond, which is not really where you want to be.
No, this doesn't look very good. I think he's probably going to have to mulligan again. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's a rough one.
it's a little bit closer on the draw, I think, but I think it probably is not good enough. It's close either way. Bob's probably running some numbers on a different computer screen, determining whether or not he should keep.
Yeah. Looks like
But no, as he predicted, he mulligan, which I think is the responsible thing to do.
yeah, I think he'll probably snap this one off.
Yeah, I mean, it's not insane, obviously, but it's keepable.
Yeah, and Once Upon a Time here, I think really helps him out because he's going to need, he's probably going to bottom the Caracas, and he's going to need more lands to win this game.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, what's the other card you bottom?
Either Spirit Guide or Sylvan Scrying. Sylvan Scrying's with helpful because it gets you your land for your combo, but it's also quite easily dazed. Spirit Guide helps with the daze, but I mean you have to choose another card. I don't think I would get rid of the discard spells, but Bob has a lot more experience with this deck, so I'm not shocked that he got rid of one of the discard spells.
Yeah, my inclination was also to bottom the direct as well, mostly
Okay.
because I don't think you're going to have a lot of time to cast this card.
That's fair. I think Julian's hand looks about as good as you would hope, other than a turn one Delver with days in your hand. But having two
Agreed.
cantrips, a Wasteland, and a Tarmogoyf is pretty much where you want to be, especially when Bob has mulled to 5.
Also, I don't like mulliganing versus decks that have discard, really.
Yeah. I mean, you never want a mulligan, right? But
yeah,
Delver, my mulligans with Delver are always, I only have a Wasteland, you know?
Yeah. Almost all of the other hands are keepable. Card.
Yeah, I'll keep 5 lands, a Ponder, and a Delver easily.
So look at this. Bob leads with Once Upon a Time. I mean,
daze.
Julian might daze it. Like,
do you think he's asking Julian to daze it with the Spirit Guide in his hand, or do you, to kind of get some information here to see if he has a daze?
It also just buys a lot of tempo if he does that, right?
Yeah, it seems like that's what he's doing. Is basically asking him to daze it.
Yeah. Julian did not daze it.
I mean, this is looking pretty good for Bob after a mull of 5.
I mean, I think this is about as good as you could hope for. I think you would have rather hit a green source off of Once Upon a Time rather than Hexmage, but you know.
I mean, it's half your combo. You have this Wasteland to help. I mean, you're going to need a longer game here anyway because Julian has a Wasteland.
Agreed.
So the Wasteland and the Hexmage are both pretty good pickups for considering his opening position. I feel like Julian has to daze this. No?
No, I think he pondered a second Tarmogoyf to the top.
Oh, okay. Well, that changes things drastically.
Or maybe not. Maybe I miss.
Where do you see? Oh, there's ponders. Okay.
No.
He's got a Delver.
Yeah, I think I like this. Keep the Delver, play it.
Do you think obviously, you play it, or you save that bolt because he has Elvish Reclaimer and Hexmage, which both are good targets for bolt?
Probably not. I think you just have to get your call personally.
Okay. Man, Bob's hand is so close.
I mean, it has no green mana, which I think is a big problem.
I know. Well, he's got Spirit Guide, but it's I mean, what do you think the play is here?
There's a bunch of different lines you could pursue. I think you could actually make a case for playing your land, pitching Spirit Guide, and casting Sylvan for a green source. But that's also kind of awkward because you have the Hexmage. Like, yeah. Here you really see how difficult it is to play this deck correctly, because there's like a lot of different things you could do, and none of them are really that appealing right here.
Yeah, I another argument, I mean, another play you could try is play the land, pitch the Spirit Guide for scrying and get a Dark Depths, and then he has Wasteland for opposing Wastelands, and he needs to get this Hexmage to resolve once, so he needs to pick up another black source. But that's I don't really know which line is best, or if just passing with Wasteland in play is best. It's difficult.
Yeah, let's actually take a look at how many green sources in Bob's deck. You can view this using the Cardboard.Live extension as well. It's kind of, let's see, 4 Verdant, 2 Bayou, a Rainforest, and a snow-covered forest. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 green sources to draw 2 is not a lot.
He has 11 black sources though, so if he does the Sylvan Scrying for depths,
Yeah, that might actually be better. And I think this is why Bob's tanking so long. This
Yeah.
exact decision is really, really difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would do that, but like I said, I don't have a lot of experience or successful experience with this deck. But I would. He's probably gonna get. It's either a fetch land or a depths here. I would guess it's a depths because that gives him 2 turns to naturally draw into a black source, and he has 11 of them.
Yep.
And if he draws a Chrome Mox, then any land would do it.
Yeah, Mox Diamond, but same idea.
Oh yeah, that's right. I always call it
don't worry. I do not think you want to put Chrome Mox into this deck.
No.
No.
I mean, it would almost be better than Mox Diamond here.
Not really.
It would make green mana.
That's true. But yeah, I think Julian's decision is if you daze here, you get to waste the waste, essentially. I'm not sure I would do that though. Like,
yeah, I don't think you want Wasteland for Wasteland because, I mean, I guess you do if you he has a cantrip, so he can use that to try and find a second waste. And
okay, no. But so the scrying apparently resolved, and Bob's thinking about what land to get.
All right.
Interesting. He did get the green source.
Yeah.
Again, I think that decision is incredibly difficult. Like, I would have probably taken just as long, and I'm still not sure. Probably won't be sure until like I run a bunch of computer simulations. Ooh, we see an upkeep brainstorm to guarantee the flip. Probably just reveal a daze. Yeah. Seems logical.
That's a play I basically never make anymore. I feel like your brainstorm is so incredibly important, especially if you don't have a wasteland. I mean, a fetch land in play. That I barely ever see a time where I want to do that. I guess against combo decks would be the one time. So there's definitely an argument for that play. Force of Negation looks mostly dead here.
Well, the one good thing about Force of Negation is it can cack or rotation, which is a pretty big blowout. Fortunately, Bob drew another Catacombs, which is the land he's scrying for. that can't feel great, but I think Bob's way was defensible, and sometimes you draw a card you don't want to draw, right?
It's less speculative. Like if he had done the play I was talking about, it's really hoping you draw a fetch land off the top within 2 turns. Otherwise, you're just going to be staring at a bunch of lands that don't do anything while you die to a Delver. And I think the second land that he picked up here isn't even that bad of a draw.
No, it's not, because now you can. Oh wait, hold on. Does Bob only have 1 snow-covered swamp? Yeah, there's only 2 basics in the deck. That's what I was just checking.
It's interesting that he's going for the wasteland now.
Yeah. So I guess he knows about days, so playing the Hex Mage is not that exciting, right?
That's why I'm surprised he wastelanded. I think he could have kept using that wasteland to play around days.
Huh. That's interesting. We'll see if it works out.
I mean, I think maybe he's thinking about he doesn't want to play out a Hex Mage because of Lightning Bolt.
That could be it.
So he wants to just play it slowly, but his life total is, it's 11. There eventually is a turn where if Julian gets a second threat out, that his 2020 isn't going to be good enough without crop rotation.
Yeah.
It looks like he needs the crop rotation to combo, so.
Interesting. You got Bayou.
Ooh, well, there's a single crop rotation for that. That can help a lot with that problem.
So we're going to see a lot of interesting decisions right here. The first decision now is on Julian's part. Do you double days this? And then the follow-up decision is, how many lands do you pick up?
Yeah, I think I like what Julian's doing here. Bob mulled to 5. Like, he doesn't have any combo pieces in play. This is part of the combo that you can potentially daze, while other parts you can't. You don't have any wastelands, so I think I like countering this when you can.
Yep. So Bob technically gets it 2 for 1, but honestly, those dazes are pretty dead by this point.
Right. And now Force of Negation with 3 lands in play is going to be able to counter. Well, let's see if he decides to keep it up. But
yeah, it's kind of a close decision, right? Because if you play it, it does present lethal next turn.
Right. I think you just play this out, and
yeah.
If what can Bob draw here, or what could he have? He needs a Hex Mage.
Actually, I think if Bob draws exactly Urborg, you can double crop rotate for stage and depths and tap them all to make your Merit Wage.
I think can he do that if he draws either half of the combo as well to tutor for Urborg?
Yes. Okay. But I'm just pointing out that Urborg is also an out.
Yeah. So any of the 3 lands.
So that's like 12 outs, which is kind of incredible. Like, mull to 5, facing lethal, you are still drawing live.
And he drew it.
He does it! Oh my god! And Bob knows that he should just slam. You're facing lethal damage, you just have to slam.
Yeah. There's not really anything to play around. I'm surprised Julian didn't play out his land again. Not that it would have mattered, but
yeah, it would not have technically mattered. I think maybe Julian was thinking that if his Delver dies and he draws a Brainstorm, then it's better to keep the lands in hand. But you're relatively likely to draw another land off of Brainstorm anyways, that I think probably supposed to play one of those lands out.
And it represents more. Oh my goodness. Is he going to let him play a land? Oh no.
Oh
no. Oh no.
Oh no. All right. Bob died now.
Bob's going to be kicking himself when he watches the replay here. I wonder what he was playing around.
So one thing he actually was playing around was Force of Negation, but you could have just done an upkeep to play around Wasteland as well.
Yep.
Instead of taking lethal damage. Oh my god. The small decisions, they matter so much.
Yeah, this game was pretty insane. Wow. Yeah, we thought that top deck got Bob there, and then he waited a little too long on the crop rotations.
I actually do agree waiting until your opponent's turn, but if you're going to wait, you should wait until their upkeep.
Yeah, and that's also why I was thinking Julian should have played out his 3rd land in case Bob decides to play around Force Negation. Although I guess he wouldn't have played around Force Negation if the 3rd land was out.
Exactly, because then you just get Force Negation no matter what.
Next level.
That was weird. Like, Bob rolled a 5, yeah, but like he was still very much in that game.
Yeah, and there was a lot of really, really tough turns there for Bob to try and claw back in after such a, mulling to 5 is on the draw against a pretty aggressive deck with Wastelands. It's not a great position for you, so
I actually kind of think that if you mull to 5 on the draw, it's slightly better for you because you sort of get at least 1 card back.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, it still sucks.
To start the game with 3 cards in your hand instead of 6.
I agree.
Yeah, but you're on the draw against Delver. It's a good matchup for Dark Depths. But when you're on the draw and they have a Delver or a Tarmogoyf, like you are under the gun. Like you do need to put your stuff together in a timely fashion, or you will lose.
So, if you look closely, I think Bob's sideboarding the similar sort of way. He's trying to board in to quote unquote the rock again with 2 Lilianas, 4 Tarmogoyfs, And it looks like 3 Once Upon a Time, 2 Sylvan Scrying, and Caracas are coming out.
Yeah, so an interesting thing here is that Julian has 3 submerges, and as you saw in the last match, like Depths can play around submerge, but it's a lot harder when you're siding in 4 Tarmogoyfs.
Yep. I made the point that last match that if you play Tarmogoyf, you're basically forced to fetch a forest to play the Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, unless you have a Mox Diamond.
Yeah, but there's only 2 Mox Diamonds in
too. So Submerge is good against Tarmogoyf too. It's not as good as like removing a 20/20, but if they fetch, you can cast Submerge in response, and that basically kills the Tarmogoyf.
Atalanta, I compared Submerge as basically Solder Pact in the Rug Mirrors that had no upkeep cost. Because it basically is.
Yeah, it's really good.
Sorry. It looks like Julian's boarding almost exactly the same way Autumn did, just with different sideboard cards, which sort of makes sense. Lightning Bolt does not look very good versus Bob's configuration.
How he has 4 Reclaimers though. I kind of like Bolt just because Reclaimer is such a pain, and you don't really like drawing bolts, but you want to bolt in your opener in case their opener is Reclaimer. Because if they lead Reclaimer and you have no answer to it, I mean the games are just so much harder.
I agree. So I'm not sure. It's like close either way. Also, the reach can often matter, is what I've noticed in a lot of those games.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It is certainly a decision.
So Bob has one of his Mox Diamonds and he has 3 lands. He doesn't really have much else going on, but I could see him keeping this just because everything's good when you have a Mox Diamond. Like everything's good off the top, but his lands are not that great even with it. So I don't know. Oh, it looks like he capped. No playing around Surgical Extraction. Fair enough. I did some testing with Bob, and I surgicaled his Depths on turn 1 in the sideboarded game when I was on Delver, and he beat me with Tarmogoyfs.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like that's the way he's built. I actually sort of do not enjoy siding in surgical.
Yeah, I like I don't like it if they're playing Tarmogoyf. I didn't know but I when I have Caracas and I had so many answers that I liked having one.
That's kind of sick. He thought seizes the Ponder and plays Bog. I think that sort of incentivizes Julian to not waste
wasteland the Bog. Yeah, I don't think he will.
So the reason being is that it's really hard to wasteland it when you don't have.
Ooh, this is a good draw for Bob too.
Oh my god! Do you think he's gonna go for it?
I think he thought seizes first and sees if Julian. Well, Julian has 2 brainstorms. I think he does, yeah, because he knows his hand, so he has the upside of just brainstorm locking his opponent with no lands.
Yeah. So the thought seizing Ponder and then wasting here is a coherent strategy of trying to just mana screw your opponent. Crisis averted though.
Yeah, crisis averted, and there's a Renin 6. Yikes.
That Renin 6, once it gets going, it's going to be devastating.
Yeah, what would you put back and shuffle away here if you were Julian?
Well, Bob currently doesn't have a forest, and there's a Mox Diamond. So probably the Submerge.
Yeah.
And you're going to redraw the Renin 6. And smartly, Julian put it on top so it could not be duressed like this.
Yeah. So Bob's going to have a pretty good target with that Abrupt Decay, but only if he draws lands, because with so few cards in his hand remaining, like Julian's kind of incentivized to wasteland him.
Wait.
Not right now, but like in the next couple of turns, if no other lands come down, he's going to get his mana wastelanded. And then Julian will be able to pick up his wasteland out of his graveyard with Renin 6, and even if it gets Abrupt Decayed after that, he gets another activation from his wasteland.
So notice Julian put Submerge on top.
That is interesting. I guess he's banking on that as being his safety net.
Yeah. So another thing to notice, this makes sense. If you play the Wasteland this turn, you can't even play Ren next turn, which means your Ren is vulnerable to discard. So
Yeah,
you sort of actually have to play the drop here, I think.
True, and the way that he stacked that, I guess, is hiding Ren from
exactly.
another discard spell, so that's pretty good.
So this actually all makes sense. I was trying to figure out his plan, and this plan makes a lot of sense.
So this is where I was talking about maybe you just Wasteland because it will give you another act. It will give you a second Wasteland with your Ren in 6 if you do that. If he has Abrupt Decay, and if you just play Ren in 6, then you don't get 2 Wastelands from it. So yeah, it looks like that's what Julian's doing. And wow.
He's rewarded for playing the Wasteland here.
Yeah.
Really sick. Good play.
But now what? Now it's a standoff.
Yeah, you can't really waste here because you just get Marrow Age in response. What you can do is you can fetch and play Mandrills, though, or you could fetch and play Ren 6. But I don't think playing the Ren is really that attractive.
No.
I think he's probably going to go for Mandrills, right?
Yeah, I think you want to save that Ren till it's going to do more than pick up a fetch land if your opponent has Abrupt Decay.
I mean, to be fair, Julian does not know about Abrupt Decay, right?
No, but he knows Bob plays 4 of them, and I think like I said, if he has it and all you've done is pick up a fetch land, it's kind of a big waste of your turn and the card itself.
So Bob really looking to draw Wasteland here. It would be the best draw, I think, by a lot.
Yeah, I don't think there's really anything that Julian could do if he does.
No, you just sort of die.
Yeah.
Urborg is not really the card you want to draw.
No, but I think Julian's in a kind of a rough spot though. There's so many things that just end the game for Bob. For Bob here.
Oh, Ponder's a good pickup though.
Yeah. Also, at this point, you could almost play out your Ren 6. Oh no, we don't have fetch lands anymore because getting up to 5 mana for Submerge is a thing.
It is.
But he doesn't have a fetch land, so he definitely wants to ponder, I think, looking for lands. Wastelands.
Yeah. Delver Tarn Drop. Probably good enough. Probably just take the Tarn, fetch, play Ren, plus it, get back your land. Obviously, your thing dies to Abrupt Decay, but that's fine.
Right, but at least you have the value of, okay, I'm going to get to my 5th mana here for Submerge.
Yeah, Hardcast Repel. You might want to look up that one.
I don't think he would actually get it because he's going to get... The only way that Bob's making a 20/20 is if he draws Wasteland, so he needs 2 more lands. Right?
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Interesting. Julian did not play out the Ren.
Trop on top, so he can hardcast, but not through a Wasteland. And then this Elvish Reclaimer.
Yeah, the Elvish Reclaimer is going to get Force Pitching Spell Snare, probably.
I guess. I mean, what is it? Yeah, I guess because it gets him a Wasteland. Pretty slow.
It's slow, but you only have checkmate in like 4 turns, right? Like,
yeah, I think you have to force it, but you don't feel good about it because it's like.
Yeah, of course. You never feel good about discarding 2 cards to kill 1 card.
You feel great about it when it's like an Infernal Tutor from against Storm and it's their last card. You feel great about discarding 2 cards.
Sure, that's true.
But here, no, not so much because it's not a big part of the combo. The combo's already in play.
Cyrus in chat says, "Don't do that, Eric."
I think he kind of wants to play this Ren in 6. I feel like picking up your 6th land is kind of important if Wasteland is what beats you.
Yeah, probably.
And like you said, he doesn't know he has a decay. There's only 1 card left. At this point, it's like, okay, So if it gets decayed, at least I have my 6th land, so I don't lose to a wasteland. Oh, he made a big mistake there.
Yeah, this is a slight. Oh.
Oh, he's just going face. Interesting. I was saying big mistake because if he doesn't fetch first, well, yeah, just for the viewers though. But if he doesn't fetch first and then he fetches after he's played the Ren and 6, then Bob can remove the Ren and 6 before he.
Except look at Bob's mana base. You can't actually do that, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. There's no green.
Yeah.
Also interesting that he just decided to deal a point of damage. I guess that makes it his clock a 2-turn clock, right?
Yep.
Two more turns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean he has green overall. He just didn't have green on. So the fetch, not cracking the fetch first, was not a misplay.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't realize he had tapped his green source.
Yeah, no, he tapped it to play the. I think. Oh, is Bob?
He's doing the. Oh, he's going for it. Oh, he's targeting the wasteland. Okay. I think Bob's in a bad spot if that's what he's doing right now. I think he's hoping to top deck another combo piece.
So this lets you top deck another stage or hex mage, essentially, right?
Yeah. What do you do if you're Julian here? I usually just wasteland the stage if they're copying, because it's not like they wouldn't have played out other stages at this point, and they're going to be able to wasteland. So like if they have hex mage, like you can't do anything about that anyway.
Yeah, I think wasting the stage is probably correct.
Yeah, you might say argue to wasteland the Dark Depths, but that's one he could have in his hand. There's no way he has a stage.
Yeah, exactly. Depths is one of the cards he could have in his hand because it doesn't make sense to ever play out.
I think so. Julian's thinking long and hard about what to do with his wasteland.
I actually misspoke slightly earlier. This play does not present hex mage as out, really. Oh no, it does. It does. It does. Never mind.
Hex mage was already an out though.
Okay, so Julian goes for the depths, which is also defensible.
So
probably just decay the Ren 6. The reason to decay the Ren 6 is it buys you a whole turn cycle, which is basically what you need here.
It's also a wasteland out of the that he could pick up out of the graveyard. So it looks like he's got one turn now to draw a Dark Depths or a crop rotation. Actually, he's got 2 turns because
2 turns because this is why we decayed the Ren to save the 1 damage and also stop the wasteland, obviously. But let's see what Julian draws. Julian has a lot of good draws here.
Oh yes, so he had a Delver on top and he decided to fetch it away. That's why he was thinking so long, because the last turn he had a Ponder.
Ironically, the land is not that bad. Oh no, it's pretty bad because of the duress, but Julian doesn't know that. From his perspective, it's still a fine draw, right?
Exactly, yeah. Which means that Bob's last draw of duress was not a bad draw either.
Stage copying swamp, love it. Actually, do I love it? Maybe we should have just copied the Trop.
What does Trop do though? Oh, for crop? Well, I don't think it does anything. Oh, that turns on Submerge as well.
Well, it wouldn't if our plan is to stage depths anyways, right?
So this draw actually just makes Bob dead.
Yep. Bob's deck has no way to draw 2 cards in one. Means why this is lethal.
Why would he need to draw? I mean,
if we had Brainstorm, we could like brainstorm into 2 different cards, right?
Oh, because he needs Abrupt Decay and the combo? Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, Bob sort of didn't draw particularly well and died, but that is a drawback to playing a deck with no cantrips and legacy, right?
Yeah, for sure. And just mulliganing to 5, and it
Oh,
was
and also
still
the
really, really
punt,
close.
the punt.
It was
Well,
probably not necessarily a punt until he went all the way to the main phase. Then it became
that
a
was the
punt.
punt part. I think waiting until
Past
Julian's
upkeep.
turn is yeah. Waiting until Julian's upkeep is definitely correct to play around force mitigation, but then it sort of worked out poorly, right?
Yeah, waiting till main phase. I mean, definitely was probably a mistake on his part because even a wasteland like anything, right?
Yeah. So Julian went 2-0, no elves in his deck. I'm disappointed and sad.
Oh, that's right. That's right. No elves. No elves today for Julian. Now he's proved that he's also a Delver player.
Yeah, so he has joined myself, Javier, and Michael Bonde as bracket winners. Huh. Good job, Julian.
Yeah, wow. I voted for Autumn as who I thought was going to win.
Yeah, so did I. I mean,
that's who crushes me the most in leagues. So
really, Autumn crushes you the most in
no, I know
leagues?
we have. I think we played once and I lost pretty horribly. But I
Well,
watched a lot of Autumn's.
100%, 100% win rate, right? You can't argue.
Exactly. It can't get any worse than 100%.
Right. I mean that was a good match. We got to point out like a lot of Bob had, and like honestly, the depth deck is really hard to play, and you basically saw that there, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's why I every time people ask me about it, I'm like, I've tried it. I don't have a lot of success with it. Like I can 3-2 a league with it, fine, but it always feels very difficult. It always feels really difficult to 3-2. So it's not a deck for me. But Bob does really well with it and plays it obviously much better until, as we saw there, he made a mistake as well, and I'm sure he's kicking himself about it. But the deck's
Yeah,
really tough.
but he still has chances to make it back. The next match will be Phil versus Autumn. I'm kind of excited to see what happens. Maybe Phil's deck does a little bit more this time, but Autumn
So
does have a lot of ancient grudges in their sideboard.
yeah, and I don't think that's the matchup Phil built the deck for. So
No,
hopefully
no.
Phil can. I saw in chat earlier he said he thinks that the matchup usually looks a little bit more competitive. So hopefully we get to see some games like that.
Yep. Anyways, let's take a break and go to the next match.
Sounds good.